2024 was a pretty wild year for us Funko collectors, and today I'm going to be breaking down the good, the bad, and what I think needs to change moving into 2025. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for my annual recap of how Funko did this past year. Now, it's been a pretty interesting year for us Funko collectors. We got releases at 3 major cons, which included C2E2, San Diego Comic-Con, and New York Comic-Con. We also got lots of exciting NFT drops, and we even got some crazy limited pieces, just to name a few things that happened this year. But today, I'm going to be giving you a couple pros, some of the cons, and also some things that I think need to be changed and adjusted moving into 2025. So kick back, relax, grab yourself a drink, and let's start off by talking about the pros. So the first thing that I want to mention in the pros column is actually something that got me very excited as a collector here in 2024, and that was the introduction of the third original family character for Funko in being Franny. Now, they introduced Franny early in the year, and we actually got our first Franny Funko Pop for C2E2. Now, the big reason as to why I think Franny is definitely a highlight of 2024 is because they didn't do what Funko typically does when they introduce something new, and that is overproduce it. We did not see the amount of Frannys that I was actually anticipating. I thought with the introduction of this new character, that being Freddy's twin sister, that they were just going to give us so many Frannys that by the end of the year, people would be Frannied out and completely over her. But that is definitely not the case, and although I never see her becoming as popular as Freddy, I really do believe that a lot of collectors feel the same way I do, and that we're excited to see what's to come for Franny, and we're not burnt out already on the new character. The next thing that I consider a massive pro for Funko here in 2024 was the fact that they actually did a first ever 2-day event for Fun Days. If you guys don't know what Fun Days is, it is a special exclusive Funko party for fanatics and collectors that happens every year at San Diego Comic-Con. This past year, it was pirate themed. It was really exciting. We actually had a very fun and successful watch party here on the channel. It was a blast. We had several hundred people watching throughout the night, and it was really exciting overall. And I really hope that Funko continues this trend, because even though I think a lot of people were the same both nights, it does in fact open the door for technically more people to attend Fun Days, but still giving it that small original collector fanatic feeling where it's not too big and you don't have a massive crowd of people, kind of like what we saw for 2023's Fun Days. So I really like how they did that, and every year, no matter what, Fun Days is going to be expensive. It's going to be very difficult to get tickets to this exclusive limited party, but it adds a lot of excitement to the hobby and to Funko as a company. The next thing that has to be mentioned and talked about in the pro column is the fact that Funko actually did put out more limited pieces in 2024 compared to 2023. Specifically at Fun Days, like I just mentioned, we even saw LE 50 piece pops. That is crazy. I thought last year's LE 100 piece Freddy's were crazy, but the fact that this year we got some LE 50 pieces just made collecting so much more exciting. And even though I will likely never own one of those pops because they're so expensive, it's still exciting to see Funko come out with something that limited and that rare. And then also for their regular con releases, specifically for San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con's catalogs, we actually did see more non-Freddy limited pieces than we've seen in previous years past. So I hope that this is a trend that continues moving forward in 2025, but definitely have to give Funko a huge thumbs up for that. And speaking of limited pieces, another thing that has to be mentioned in the pro column is NFTs. There are very few companies still even doing NFTs here in 2024, so huge credit and kudos to Funko for finding a way to make NFTs still exciting and profitable. And a lot of NFT drops actually sold out this year. Most recently, the Funkoween Series 2, as well as the Beetlejuice drop sold out, and we saw the introduction of new IPs for NFTs here in 2024. Specifically, the one that I was very excited for, even though it was a little bit of a letdown, was Star Wars, but there are a lot of rumored licenses and different IPs going to be introduced into the NFT drop space for 2025. 2025, and I'm really excited to see which characters get turned into Funko Pops, and hopefully there's some very limited pieces and some characters that we've never seen in Funko Pop form before. Another huge pro that has to be mentioned for Funko here in 2024 was something they did that shocked me for New York Comic Con. It came out of left field, but it is a huge step in the right direction for combating a major issue that's been plaguing the Funko Pop community for the last few years, especially now, and that is the introduction of their QR codes on the New York Comic Con stickered Pops. I thought this was a fantastic thing, as they are now trying to tackle keeping Pops authentic so that way people cannot make counterfeits and then release them onto the secondary market, because one of the most devastating things you can do as a collector is purchase a pop that you believe to be authentic, spend your hard-earned money, and then all of a sudden either a couple days, weeks, months go by and you find out that that pop that you worked so hard to get sitting on your shelf is actually a fake. I've seen it happen to so many people, and to no fault of their own. The fakes are getting so good that you could literally have a fake pop next to its real a similar version, and you could look at it for hours and hardly notice any differences unless you have a keen eye for what to look for. So huge step in the right direction for Funko, and I'm really hoping that these QR codes, which you can scan and verify the pop's authenticity, are something that we continue to see moving forward, especially for all the major cons like C2E2, San Diego Comic-Con, and New York Comic-Con. The next pro that I want to address for Funko in 2024 is something, once again, that they did at New York Comic-Con, and I feel like it kind of went under the radar a little bit because there was just so much that happened at New York Comic-Con this year, but it's actually a huge milestone for Funko and something that I want to see happen more moving into 2025, and that was the release of the first ever official Chase autograph pop. If you guys were paying attention to everything happening at New York Comic-Con, especially with our channel, we were actually in collaboration with $7 a Pop for New York Comic-Con this year and helped launch their release of the Chase Elvira pop. Now, there was a standard version that went alongside it, but this was the first ever official Chase autograph, and right now autographs are huge for the Funko Pop community. There are people that specifically go out and buy specific pops to bring them to cons and events where celebrities are doing signings so they can get that specific pop for their collection signed by XYZ celebrity. If Funko can do more of this moving into 2025, where they can actually offer collectors the opportunity to get an autograph Chase without having to travel the distance to go to XYZ con or fly halfway across the country, that's going to save collectors a lot of money. And it also offers collectors a very exciting chance at getting an even more limited Chase, because Funko actually released this Elvira Chase pop or Chase autograph pop as a 1 in 36 and not their standard 1 in 6. So this once again just proves that they are holding autographs up here, which I think is very appropriate because it is very difficult to get specific celebrity autographs. So if you can give collectors an opportunity to chase something that is a little bit rarer than your standard Chase, but offering them the chance to get that autograph for their collection without having to shell out all that money to travel, I think it's a huge win and something they definitely need to lean into. The last big thing that I want to mention as a pro for Funko in 2024 was their big Black Friday / holiday sales that they had on their website. A lot of people have been complaining, of course, over the last couple of years that they've been getting priced out of collectibles, and I could see that being the case for a lot of other companies. However, I don't see that being the case for Funko unless you're going after specific pops that are vaulted, old con exclusives, or just big grails that do demand a hefty price tag because there's just so much demand for that specific figure on the secondary market. Funko actually offered some pretty good sales this holiday season, which I thought were very appropriate because 2024 was a pretty rough year for most of North America economically, so giving collectors an opportunity to get things for their collections at a reduced cost around this time of the year I thought was a huge win. Not to mention that Funko still remains being a very affordable collectible here in 2024, and hopefully that stays the same moving into 2025, barring any price increases or anything like that. So that is a huge win, and I think that's something that needs to be taken as a positive because a lot of other companies out there are unfortunately yet again raising their prices on their items and merchandise moving into 2025. So now that we've got the pros knocked out, it's time to unfortunately talk about the cons of some things that happened with Funko in 2024. And one of the biggest, saddest slash most depressing things that happened in 2024 was seeing the departure of Mike Becker. For those of you guys who don't know, Mike Becker actually founded Funko as a company in 1998, and he was responsible in collaboration with Brian Mariotti for creating the pop figure that we know and love today. And I'm actually excited because he's going off and he's starting another toy company in a few months here, so it'll be pretty interesting to see what he comes up with over there. But at the same time, as a diehard Funko fan, I'm really sad to have seen him leave Funko for good. And now we are left in the hands of new CEO Cynthia Williams, and a huge con of 2024 for me is that since Cynthia Williams took over as new CEO, we've gotten very little, if any, communication from where the company is now headed, in what direction do they plan on going, and just overall general communication with us as Funko fans here in the community. So that has actually been a little bit depressing. So the next con that unfortunately has to be discussed, and it does stick out like a sore thumb when you think back of everything that happened with Funko in 2024, is something that I was actually very upset about, and I know a lot of you guys shared my same disappointment for this event, and that was unfortunately seeing the social media Freddy Soda showing up at big box discount stores like Ross and Marshall's. And the reason that this was such a huge disappointment was because you could not purchase this item directly from Funko. Throughout the past few years, if you wanted to get one of these highly rare sought after sodas, especially that 300 piece chase, you could only win it from Funko via one of their social media contests, or if you found a Funko employee or Tristan aka Top Pops, for example, at San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con where they were giving these out, that was the only way you were able to obtain one of these sodas. So seeing them show up at these big box discount stores for $25 to $30 just being dumped on the shelves like any other product that wasn't selling well was a huge bummer, and definitely a massive mistake in my opinion for Funko, when they could have used these for their own mystery boxes, or if they had cracked one of these cases and found out what these actually were and how valuable they were to Funko fans and collectors, they could have continued to give them away and do little contests and things like that to get people engaged with the company, as when you do win something for free, no matter what space you're in, it is very exciting. So for me, especially as a diehard Freddy fan, it was really sad to see this happen. The next thing that definitely was a bummer for 2024 and needs to be addressed, I won't address it as in depth as I did the other day when I was doing my Star Wars recap video, was the fact that some of the con pops for 2024 were a little lackluster in my opinion. Now, specifically with Star Wars, they did a lot of characters that just didn't need new versions, and when you look at other themes like anime was getting new characters for con exclusives left and right. So seeing the disparity in terms of treating one or several themes one way, but completely neglecting other themes another way, was just definitely a huge bummer. Now, I understand that Funko is tied to all their IP agreements and vast contracts that they have to abide by, but still, if other companies can release different characters and new versions of characters that people love, why can't Funko do it, especially for their major events like C2E2, San Diego Comic-Con, and New York Comic-Con, where they should be showcasing their cream of the crop products for that year. So hopefully in 2025, we get some better con exclusives. Another thing that was a bummer for me in 2024, as once again, I know you guys also shared in our disappointment for this, was the fact that sodas are barely hanging on. We only got a few Funko soda releases in 2024. Now, I will say there's a couple bright spots in the fact that we did get a new cooler, that one being the recent Stranger Things cooler, and it was limited to only 5,000 pieces, which gives me hope that Funko is recognizing there is demand for the soda collectible, but maybe just not as much as demand as there was in 2021 and 2022 per se. Another big red flag in terms of the soda category is the fact that for the few releases we did get, there is one that once again stands out like a sore thumb, and that is the Art the Clown soda. The way they released this is just completely beyond me and just utterly stupid. The fact that these sodas were showing up at Hot Topic with the chase versions of these sodas with a Chase sticker on the outside just completely ruins the blind packaging, and I don't understand why anybody at Funko thought this was a good idea. If they continue to release sodas but give us sodas where the Chase is marked with a Chase sticker on the outside of the can, that is going to completely ruin the fun of ripping open a blind packaged soda in hopes that you get the Chase figure. Not to mention that it's going to give store retailers shelves full of commons that no one is going to buy because they know for a fact that all of the Chases are not even there. So hopefully moving into 2025, the soda game changes significantly. The next thing that I want to mention briefly as another con for something that happened in 2024, and this goes hand in hand once again with Mike Becker leaving the company, but the fact that we don't have a social media team or just people at Funko who are willing to engage with Funko as a fan base. This was definitely felt significantly in person at New York Comic Con. We were at New York Comic Con for 3 out of the 4 days, and the entire Funko booth area was just vastly different in terms of the vibe and atmosphere compared to years past. In years past when we've gone to New York Comic Con, Mike Becker and his crew were out there engaging with fans, doing little giveaways and making people, shout out and scream and just getting people excited for, the hobby and the company that we all know and love. This past year at New York Comic Con, the booth was packed, so there's no shortage of demand for Funko and people willing to wait in line for these items. That was definitely apparent as there was basically no time slots left up for grabs, and even the people who waited all day to try to, wait on the standby line to see whatever scraps they could get, they barely got anything, and they barely were able to let any people into the line because they had to close the con when the Javits Center required all the retailers to stop letting people into their booths. Now, without that social media team, without that engagement, once again, that's going to be critical moving forward because it's going to make buying Funko just a simple consumer to company transaction, when in years past there's been a magic touch to Funko that only happens with this company because you see how exciting it is, you see how engaged the employees are, and I really think it's time that they bring back a social media team to engage with all of us who can't go to these Funko events in person. The next thing I want to mention, and it's definitely a massive con, and it's something that I really hope they don't do any more of moving into 2025, is Project Fred. I am the biggest Freddy fan you will ever meet, and I was very excited for Project Fred, but these figures are just flat out ugly and atrocious, and I don't understand why anybody at Funko thought most of these were good. With the exception of the first one and the Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles Fred and Barney figures, I thought those had some creativity to it. All the rest of them were absolutely disgusting, and the $300 price tag that these demanded was just pitiful in my opinion. So I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I hope Project Fred is just Project Dead. And the last thing that I want to mention in the cons column here is once again tied to that holiday sale that I mentioned earlier. And even though I consider their massive Black Friday and holiday sales a success because they did sell out of quite a few items this past year, there is one thing that was definitely a huge bummer and a red flag, and that was the flocked Winnie the Pooh 5,000 piece promotion pop that they promised with anybody who spent over $150 during the time of the promotion. There was a huge hiccup with this pop, and it didn't come with the correct sticker, and then Funko kind of quietly issued an apology and sent out 5,000 piece stickers to those who got the pop. This, in my opinion, should have been an excellent opportunity to come out and just widely address the issue and let everybody know that there was an issue and, express their gratitude for people continuing to be loyal Funko fans and that they were going to do everything possible to make this right. They did issue a letter. We did get the letter in the mail attached to the sticker. However, there was no widespread media communication with Funko to the fan base regarding this issue. And I think when there is hiccups, and there's always going to be hiccups with just about every single company, and that's completely okay. Mistakes do happen. Companies are run by people at the end of the day. However, you can really instill consumer confidence if you come out and address that issue. You can also do the opposite. And that's what I kind of think happened here, where you kind of lowered consumer confidence by not addressing this issue and coming out and being completely transparent with the consumer base by just kind of trying to beat around the bush and address what is going on through other avenues when you should have just came out and directly said, hey, we screwed up. Here's the stickers for everybody who did get this pop, and we're going to make sure that this happens better moving forward in the future. I think the promotion items are an excellent idea. Just you got to make sure you are rock solid on your execution, and if you do mess up, let the community know, get in front of it, so that way we know that we love this company for a reason and they are okay with admitting their mistakes, because that means they care about us as consumers and they also care about the products that we love to collect. So now moving into the last portion of my 2024 Funko recap video here, I want to give a few recommendations for Funko moving forward into 2025. Now, I know that there's a solid chance that nobody from Funko might watch this video. However, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below if you agree with my recommendations list. And of course, I want to hear all of your pros and cons for how you experienced being a Funko collector in 2024. So my first recommendation is don't lose that special Funko connection with the fans. Like I mentioned, Mike Becker leaving, not having the social media team, not having that engagement at the big events is definitely detrimental to this community and this hobby. And I think moving forward into 2025, they need to go out of their way to engage with the fans in person and virtually, so that way they can continue to attract new people to the hobby, and they can keep the fans that are already here in the community and who already love the company completely engaged and continue to be excited about the products. The next thing that I think has to happen in 2025, and is overall my biggest recommendation out of everything that I'm going to say, because if Funko doesn't do it, I think it will be single-handedly the biggest mistake in the company's history. That is if they don't hold Fun Days at San Diego Comic-Con come 2025 July. I think that Fun Days is single-handedly the biggest event that attracts people to Funko as a company and gets people engaged in the hobby, because it gets so much talk. It is such a tough event to get to because of the price, because of the distance a lot of people have to travel, and because of the exclusivity of the items that they actually give away every single year at Fun Days. If Funko doesn't hold this event because Mike Becker is no longer with the company, and that was a big thing that he loved every single year, I think that is going to immediately affect sales come Q3 and Q4 of next year, and a lot of people are going to be really sad and disappointed with Funko overall. So if anybody from Funko is watching, please, please, please continue to hold Fun Days. I think it is the single most important event that Funko has ever done, and I hope they continue to do it, even if I'm never able to attend it. The next recommendation that I think Funko needs to do moving into 2025 is releasing yet more limited pops outside of Comic-Cons, NFTs, and Fun Days. These three events kind of gobble up 90 to 95% of the limited piece pops that we get. I think it's critical that they bring back more limited piece pops that are just released on a random Tuesday on Funko's website. Not to mention, I think we should also be getting limited pops that you can only get at Hot Topic. Let's say for the first 5,000 people that are able to find it, that should be happening on a regular basis, or even on a basis that is attached to a holiday, maybe like Halloween or Christmas or Valentine's Day. Getting limited piece pops out there gets people excited about the hobby, and even though a lot of people are going to hate me saying this, the hobby thrives when not everybody can get something. When Funko puts something out that everybody can get, that really isn't special or exciting. It's when people are able to get their hands on something that not everybody has. That's when people start talking about something. That's when you see pops going up in value and selling for ridiculous prices. Whether you like it or not, that's what gets people really motivated and exciting about collecting. If everyone is able to attain everything and everyone's collection looks exactly the same, that's not really a hobby. That's just us being dumb consumers. The next recommendation I actually have is a really interesting one, and something that I really do think that Funko has to watch out for in 2025, and that is other competitors. Now, there's been collectible companies outside of Funko for years. However, this past October, we saw a brand new collectible company pop up with a very familiar face for Funko fans in the CEO chair, and that of course was Thrilljoy. Now, Thrilljoy actually got a lot more hype than I was expecting to see at New York Comic Con. They did have pretty significant lines wrapped around the entire booth for a majority of the 4 days during New York Comic Con. However, that hype quickly died down only a few weeks later as that company experienced significant delays, massive shipping issues, and even though they're offering some pretty cool limited pieces, I think they are going to struggle for the years ahead, and I am just not a big fan of what they have to offer. I think the products are way too large. I think they take up too much space, and I think they're very expensive for what you get. So I don't think Funko necessarily has to worry about them long term, but there is something that I noticed that I think Funko is actually going to have to be very weary of in 2025, and that is competing with bigger companies, specifically like Lego. For those of you guys who haven't been paying attention to what's going on with Lego, they recently leaked that they have acquired the One Piece license. So they are going to be releasing One Piece sets come summer of 2025. And with One Piece and anime being such a strong focal point of Funko right now and its profit margins, I think a lot of anime collectors and One Piece fans specifically are going to have to choose come next summer if they are even remotely interested in what Lego has to offer. If they throw down $60 for a One Piece Lego set, that's going to be $60 less that they are spending on One Piece Funko Pops. So I think Funko needs to pay attention to these bigger companies that are going to start acquiring licenses that Funko has that they rely on to sell a lot of product, and I definitely think they need to be mindful of that moving into 2025. Another big recommendation that I have, of course, for Funko in 2025 is to bring back sodas in full force. I think that there is still a ton of demand for sodas. In fact, it was the first item that we were so excited to unpack and get on the shelves here in our new studio. I think the soda collectible right now is exactly what Funko needs to be looking into. If they can find a way to produce the can and the figure while offering a chase or even multiple chases, that is just going to get a lot of people engaged and excited. Now, a lot of people were very excited when Funko raised their prices on retail for sodas from 12 to 15 to then 18. So obviously cost is an issue because it doesn't make sense to play chase roulette when a soda is $18. If they can find a way to bring the cost back down to 15 or heck even 12 by maybe finding a plant or somewhere that's going to manufacture these soda figures maybe a little bit more cheaply, I think that's definitely a direction they need to look into, because I think that we really need more excitement here in the hobby, and opening up sodas and watching other people open up sodas is very enjoyable and exciting. The last recommendation I actually have for Funko moving into 2025 is to be creative and think outside the box. One of the things that sets Funko apart from other standard toy and collectible companies is their creativity, and I really would love to see them come out with some more original characters or some fun little monster lines and such. Give us some really unique characters that are very limited that will get people excited about collecting, because I think the demand for overall regular pop culture releases, your superheroes, your anime, your Star Wars and sci-fi, I have seen a little bit of a decline in interest in those IPs because Funko has come out with a lot of the same over and over and over again. Now, they're not the only ones to blame. There's plenty of other companies who continue to put out the same iterations of characters and just continue to expect consumers and collectors to buy them. I think at this point in time, moving into 2025, collectors and Funko collectors especially are looking for something new and a little bit more exciting. So I want to see some more creativity from Funko moving into 2025. What that exactly looks like, I don't know, but I want to see some more uniqueness come to the collectible front when it comes to Funko. So those are all my recommendations. That's what I thought of Funko in 2024. Overall, I'm going to give them a score of 7 out of 10. I think there was definitely some issues, but there was also some really bright spots and a lot of exciting moments throughout 2024. And I hope that overall 2025 is a better year for the hobby, community, and company for Funko for the year. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. But since today is Monday, it is time for our weekly Monday Motivation segment. Every single week here on the channel, we like to bring you guys a small piece of Monday motivation to help kickstart your week and get you through the toughest day of the week, which is typically Monday. And believe it or not, this is somehow the last Monday of 2024. We've got New Year's Eve tomorrow, and then we have New Year's Day on Wednesday. It's going to be 2025. I can't believe that happened already, but you are going to see a lot of stuff popping up on social media in the days ahead. You're going to be seeing influencers and popular celebrities all putting out their New Year's resolutions and everything they're going to change about themselves moving into 2025. You're going to see all these promotions for new diets and gym memberships and everything to fix yourself and get you back on track moving into the new year. New year, new you, right? However, I think this time of the year, a lot of people get ahead of themselves. They look in the mirror and they get upset at what they see. They say to themselves, man, I've really let myself go. I want to lose 100 pounds this year. They look at their bank account and they go, wow, I've spent so much money. Maybe I'm in debt. I really need to get this figured out. They also, maybe you look at your eating habits and you're like, man, I really need to cut things out. I'm going to go cold turkey, no more fast food. I think those goals are unfortunately unrealistic. A lot of people can say to themselves one thing, but when you execute that, it ends up being a different story. And that's why you see a lot of people join the gym January 1st, and by January 30th, they're not even going anymore. So that's why for today's Monday Motivation, I think it is very important moving into 2025 that you set realistic goals. If you're upset about how you look and you want to lose weight, go out there and lose weight, but maybe try to focus on losing 5 to 10 pounds instead of going out and say, I want to lose 90 to 100 pounds. If you want to start saving up money, start putting a little bit into a savings account every single week or month. When you achieve those little goals, it triggers something in your brain and it allows you to be happy for a little while. If you set such a large goal and then you don't meet it, you are actually going to beat yourself up. You're going to get more stressed out, and that's not going to get you anywhere in life. So focus and set some realistic goals that you know you can achieve. It's actually been proven that if you set goals that are super basic, like if you want to start saving money, literally take $5 from your checking account and put it in your savings account. If you want to lose weight, focus on losing 1 pound. When you make those micro successes happen, it actually is a higher chance of leading to a macro success than if you were just to set that macro success goal right off the bat. So do those little micro tips that I just mentioned, set realistic goals, and I think at the end of the day, come this time next year, you will have achieved more than what you actually set out to do because you allowed yourself to have those small victories instead of just going all out and saying, I'm going to win this massive war without the proper tools and preparation. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I have a lot of things that I want to achieve in 2025. I definitely have some changes that I want to make. I want to lose some weight. I need to start, kind of managing our money a little bit better again because we just bought a house in 2024. We had a lot of success, but we also need to continue to keep focused on our 5-year plan and everything that we want to accomplish in the years ahead. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and as always, don't stop shooting until you score.